upon a time, in a remote village nestled deep within the lush heart of Africa called Ogbomosho, there lived a young woman named OMOTOLA. She was known throughout the village for her striking beauty, compassionate nature, and an adventurous spirit that often led her to explore the mysteries of the surrounding forests and rivers. The village of Ogbomosho was blessed with bountiful crops, fertile land, and a river that supplied fresh water to the community. However, this river was not like any other. It was believed to be the dwelling place of a powerful and hostile river goddess named Abidemi. The villagers had long lived in fear of Abidemi's wrath and offered her sacrifices regularly to ensure her goodwill. OMOTOLA, however, was not one to be bound by such superstitions. One bright morning, OMOTOLA decided to venture deeper into the forest, following the path that led to the river. She felt a strong, unexplainable urge to see Abidemi's waters up close, to confront the fear that had held her village captive for generations. As she walked along the river's edge, OMOTOLA's beauty and grace caught the attention of the river goddess herself. Abidemi, curious and intrigued by this young woman who dared to approach her sacred waters, decided to reveal herself. Emerging from the depths of the river, Abidemi took on a form of stunning beauty. Her long flowing hair glistened like liquid silver, and her eyes sparkled like a precious gem. Her voice was a melodious symphony that echoed through the forest. She smiled warmly at OMOTOLA, dispelling the villagers' stories of her hostility. "I am Abidemi, the guardian of these waters. You are unlike any other mortal who has come here. What brings you to my domain, dear OMOTOLA?" the river goddess said. OMOTOLA, though initially terrified, found herself drawn to Abidemi's kindness and grace. She explained her curiosity and the desire to bridge the gap between the village and the river goddess. OMOTOLA, initially terrified, found herself drawn to Abidemi's kindness and grace. She explained her curiosity and the desire to bridge the gap between the village and the river goddess. Abidemi, moved by OMOTOLA's sincerity, decided to reveal the truth about herself. She confessed that she was not inherently hostile, but had become so because of the villagers' fear and neglect of her river. In return for OMOTOLA's courage and kindness, Abidemi made a pact with her. If OMOTOLA could persuade the villagers to treat the river with respect and stop discriminating it, the river goddess would ensure the prosperity of Ogbomosho for generations to come. Eager to make her village a better place, OMOTOLA returned to Ogbomosho and shared her extraordinary encounter with the river goddess. She spoke of Abidemi's beauty, her kindness, and her willingness to help if the villagers would change their ways. The villagers, initially skeptical, were moved by OMOTOLA's sincerity and determination. They agreed to cease their discrimination of the river, and with time, the village began to thrive like never before. Crops grew plentifully, the water from the river remained pure, and the village became a haven of prosperity. OMOTOLA's encounter with Abidemi not only brought prosperity to Ogbomosho but also united the villagers in gratitude to the once feared river goddess. From that day forward, the villagers respected and honored the guardian of their river, and Abidemi, once hostile, transformed to a benevolent deity, blessing the village with abundance and serenity. And so, OMOTOLA's bravery, compassion, and her determination to mend the relationship between her village and the river goddess, Abidemi, created a story that would be passed down through generations as a reminder that fear could be conquered with love, and harmony could replace hostility when approached with an open heart. Long time ago, in a beautiful northern village known for its beautiful culture and artifacts, lived two young souls whose love defies all odds. Samira, a beautiful young lady with a striking almond eyes and a spirit as fierce as the Sahara wind, was the daughter of a wealthy merchant called Alhaji Bawa. Samir, on the other hand, was a handsome young poet from a humble background, known throughout the city for his mesmerizing verses that captured the essence of life in the village. Their paths crossed one fateful day at the bustling market of Biu, where Samira had just decided to venture beyond the walls of her opulent home, seeking to escape the confinement of her aristocratic life. While roaming the markets, Samira was drawn by the enchanting words of a street poet. She found herself captivated by Samir's poetic talent. His verses spoke of love, unity, and the longing for a world where societal boundaries would melt away like the evening sun. As Samira's eyes met Samir's, a connection sparked like a lightning bolt, and their hearts recognized each other in that very moment. The forbidden love between a wealthy merchant's daughter and a humble poet ignited with an intensity that would light up their lives, no matter how dark the path ahead. Their love was secret and hidden beneath the veil of tradition and societal expectation. Samira's family had already arranged her marriage to a prominent merchant's son, Ali, a man chosen for his wealth and status, not his heart. But the flames of love between Samira and Samir could not be extinguished by the dictation of her family. They began to exchange secret letters carried by trusted messengers who moved like shadows through the village's narrow alleyways. Samir's words continued to inspire Samira, filling her heart with the courage to defy her family's wishes. Her love for him was unshakable, and she was determined to be with the man who made her heart sing. The challenges they faced were relentless. Samira's family grew suspicious of her behavior and watched her every move, while Samir's poems began to draw unwanted attention from the authorities who feared the power of his words. Yet, the two lovers remained steadfast in their commitment to one another. On one moonlight night, as the desert wind whispered secrets through the palm trees, Samira and Samir made a daring escape from Biu. They rode on a horseback through the desert, guided only by the stars and their love for each other. With each passing mile, their love deepened and their determination to be together grew stronger. Their journey led them to an old city of Timbuktu, where they found refuge among scholars and poets who embraced their love story as a testament to the power of love to transcend all boundaries. Samir continued to write his beautiful poetry, and Samira became his muse, inspiring verses that celebrated their love and the courage it took to defy the world. As the years passed, their love story became stronger, and people from all walks of life were touched by the tale of Samira and Samir, the lovers who had conquered all odds to be together. Their love was not just a romance, it was a symbol of hope, and their love a beacon of hope for all those who dared to dream of a love that could conquer all odds. Once upon a time, in a small beautiful village called Ede, lived a woman named AWILIKA. She was known far and wide as AWILIKA the Wicked, a name earned through her reputation for cruelty and cunningness. But then, there was more to her story. AWILIKA had not always been wicked. It all started in her youthful age. She was a kind and gentle soul who had dreams of a bright future. However, her life took a dark turn when she met a charming but deceitful man named Grigori. Grigori wooed her with his sweet words and promises of a life filled with riches and adventure, and AWILIKA, unknown to her, fell deeply in love. They were married in a grand traditional ceremony, and for a while, their love was the talk of the town. But as time passed, Grigori's true nature began to reveal itself. It was not the man she thought he was. He was a master manipulator who is full of deceit and cruelty. Under Grigori's influence, AWILIKA's heart hardened. She turned away from her once kind nature and began to embrace the wickedness that Grigori embodied. Together, they plotted schemes and carried out acts of treachery, all in pursuit of their insatiable thirst for power and wealth. One fateful day, Gregory set his sights on the village's beloved king, Ikenga, whose fortune was the talk of the town. Gregory devised a cunning plan to marry AWILIKA off to King Ikenga, with the intention of seizing his wealth and lands once the marriage was consummated. AWILIKA, now fully ensnared by her husband's malevolent influence, agreed to the plan. She used her beauty and charm to captivate King Ikenga, and the two were married in a lavish ceremony that sent shockwaves through the village. Little did Ikenga know that his new bride was as wicked as her husband Gregory. As the days turned into weeks, AWILIKA and Gregory began to carry out their wicked plan. They slowly poisoned King Ikenga's mind, convincing him that the villagers were conspiring against him and that his wealth was under constant threat. AWILIKA played the role of the doting wife, all the while manipulating her husband into signing away his properties and fortunes. But even as AWILIKA embraced her wickedness, a small ember of her former self still flickered deep within her heart. She couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt for what she was doing to King Ikenga and the villagers. She knew she was on a dark path, and she yearned to break free from Gregory's influence. One night, as the moon hung low in the sky, AWILIKA made a decision that would change the course of her life. She confided in a kind-hearted villager named Ekene, who had always seen the goodness in AWILIKA's eyes, despite the wickedness she had embraced. With Ekene's help, AWILIKA hatched a plan to expose Gregory's treachery and put an end to his schemes. They gathered evidence of Gregory's deceit and presented it to King Ikenga, who was shocked and horrified by the truth. In a fit of rage, he asked for Gregory to be banished from the village, vowing never to see his face. AWILIKA, now free from Gregory's grasp, used her newfound freedom to make amends with the villagers and help rebuild the trust she had lost. Though the villagers never forgot the dark days of AWILIKA the wicked, they also never forgot the woman who had found herself in the most unlikely of places. And so, in the end, AWILIKA's story was a unique tale of freedom and the enduring capacity for good within the human heart, proving that even the wickedest of souls can find their way back to the light. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named ADESUWA. ADESUWA was known far and wide for her fairy spirit and her stubborn nature. While most children in the village obeyed their elders without question, ADESUWA always had a mind of her own. One beautiful morning, as ADESUWA played by the river bank with her friends, an old woman with a hunchback and a crooked staff approached them. Her name was Nneka, but the villagers whispered tales of her being an evil sorceress who could cast spells and curses with a mere glance. "Children," Nneka croaked, "I have heard of a magical fruit deep in the heart of the forbidden forest. It is said to grant unimaginable power to anyone who eats it. I am too old to journey there myself, but if one of you brave souls would fetch it for me, I would reward you greatly." ADESUWA, never one to back down from a challenge, stepped forward boldly. "I will go and get this fruit for you, old woman," she declared. Her friends tried to dissuade her, for they feared the tales of the forest darkness, but ADESUWA's stubbornness knew no bounds, and she set off into the forbidden forest determined to prove herself. The forest was thick with towering trees and tangled vines. Strange sounds echoed from within, and airy shadows danced among the trees. ADESUWA pressed on, undeterred by the airy atmosphere. After hours of wandering, she finally stumbled upon the magical fruit. It was a radiant golden mango, hanging from the highest branch of an ancient tree. ADESUWA climbed the tree, plucked the mango, and carefully placed it into her basket. But as she started her journey back to the village, a sudden darkness fell upon the forest. The trees seemed to come alive, their branches reaching out to block her path. Adesua realized she was lost. Then from the shadows emerged Nneka, the old woman, her eyes glowing with an airy light, and she said to Adesua, "You have taken the fruit, child, but it is not for you to possess," she hissed. Adesua stood her ground, refusing to be intimidated. "I earned this fruit fair and square, and I won't give it up to the likes of you." Nneka's evil cackles filled the air as she began to chant strange incantations. The forest seemed to come alive with malevolent spirits swirling around Adesua, trying to snatch the fruit from her grasp, but Adesua's stubbornness shone like a beacon, and she clung to the fruit with all her might. As the battle between Adesua's will and Nneka's dark magic raged, the heavens above took notice. Thunder boomed and lightning struck, illuminating the forest. The spirits of the forest recoiled in fear, and Nneka's powers began to wane. With one final burst of determination, Adesua broke free from Nneka's grasp, clutching the magical fruit tightly. The old woman shrieked and vanished into the shadows, never to be seen again. Exhausted but victorious, Adesua made her way out of the forest. Back to the village, she presented the golden mango to the villagers who were in awe of her bravery. As she bit into the fruit, its sweet nectar filled her mouth, and she felt a surge of energy and wisdom flow through her. From that day forward, Adesua's stubbornness was channeled into strength and courage. She became a respected leader in the village, using her newfound wisdom to guide her people. And so, the tale of Adesua, the stubborn girl, and the cunning old woman became a legend in the village, a reminder that sometimes even the most stubborn hearts can overcome the darkest of challenges and emerge victorious.